it's Cody and welcome back to my channel. So today is going to be the first part of a multi-series of videos where I go over how I create one cosplay. So if you guys recall, earlier in the year I made a resolutions where I wanted to make 3 large/hard level cosplay projects. And today is going to be the first part in my first big cosplay project of the year, which is Anna from Frozen 2. So today is going to be part 1 of I don't know how many parts of me making this cosplay. And the first thing we're going to start with are the boots. So that being said, let's get started. For my reference for Anna, I'm going to go ahead and use this photo, specifically because it is the one with the clearest shot of her boot design. I purchased my base boots on eBay, and I really loved how these are, not only because they come with a heel, but they also come with the gold studs on the side, just like in the original reference. With my boots on, I went ahead and measured how long and how wide I wanted the design to be. I then folded a piece of paper in half and began drawing half the design on one side. I originally tried drawing the design myself, but I kinda suck at drawing, so I went ahead and got my boyfriend to help me out. Thanks, Kevin! Once he was done drawing that one half, I went ahead and traced it to the other side. Next, I cut out a piece of water-soluble stabilizer and traced the design twice with a Sharpie. Next, I took a remnant piece of black organza that I bought from Joann's and cut a large rectangle out of it. You want to get a lot of extra space when you cut this out because this is where you're going to hoop your fabric later. Then I used a needle and some white thread to hand base the stabilizer to the fabric. Okay, onto the embroidery. If you guys don't know, embroidery flosses are 6 strands woven together to create one bigger strand. I then went ahead and separated 4 of the strands away, so I'm only using 2 strands for my embroidery. You're going to be doing this throughout the entirety of this embroidery. Next, I'm taking my embroidery hoop and hooping my fabric. On camera, I'm using about a medium-sized hoop, but when I was doing the design on the far right, I actually used a smaller hoop. Alright, so the first thing we're going to do is outline. I first went ahead and sewed my knot around the middle of the design, and then sewed back down to start the outline. I then went ahead and began outlining the entire thing with a backstitch. Once I finished my outline, I then sewed back down in the middle of the design and then knotted my threads. After that, just repeat the process all the way down until you have the entire design outlined. While we're at it, I'm going to go ahead and show you a couple of tips in how to do corners and concave areas. When you have a corner, make sure that you go all the way up to the edge and then pull the thread through onto the other side and then start backstitching. When you flip it over, you should have a little bit of a horizontal line going through to the corner, but don't worry, you're not going to see that in the real deal. If you have more of a concave situation, bring your needle down through the apex point. Then bring your needle back out again at that apex point, and then start again with your backstitching. With the outlining complete, it's time to fill in the designs. Starting from the top diamond, I began doing horizontal satin stitches from the top to the bottom. While doing these satin stitches, I make sure to go only just a little bit over the outline to cover it up. When it's finished, it should look something like this. Moving on to the wing designs, I first began my satin stitches from the top right corner, fan them more towards the middle, and then re-angled out towards the left. This process was repeated 2 more times. After the third one, I began doing horizontal satin stitches down this long stem, and then repeated that angled satin stitch on the bottom.
For the tiny little circle, I did horizontal satin stitches, and then repeated that angled satin stitch on the 2 bottom wings, but this time I started from the bottom right corner. Lastly, I did horizontal satin stitches on the bottom diamond, and the designs were finally embroidered. I then roughly cut out the designs from the organza. I didn't really go too close to the edge, I just went ahead and did a rough cut. We're gonna trim it down a little later anyway. Then, following the instructions on the package, I dissolved the stabilizer. I gave the embroidery pieces a quick iron and then left it to dry overnight. The next morning I trimmed down the edges a little further, being very careful not to cut the stitches, and then covered all the edges with freight check. And finally, I began gluing the pieces onto the boots. I originally did this while wearing the boot, but it wasn't really a comfortable angle to get everything glued down properly, so I ended up taking off the boot, propping it up on my table, and then began gluing it from there. I then cut off any connecting pieces that are left over, and my boots were finally done. In total, I spent about $47.69 on the project and 14 hours and 45 minutes to complete it. Overall, I'm really happy with how these boots turned out, and I really hope I can do more boots like these in the future.
Alright guys, so I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give this video a thumbs up. If you have any questions on how I made the boots, please feel free to tell me in the comments below. Please subscribe to this channel if you want to see more videos from me, not just for Anna, but just for any of my cosplays in general. Or if you want to see me dance to K-pop, please check out my dance channel. I'll see you guys in my next video. Until then, bye-bye!